Hello, good evening, welcome back. Sloppy seconds if you were with us earlier. It's literally two games from me having to dress up like this for the World Cup. This is Leicester Till I Die. If you are new to the channel, please do what it says there and subscribe. It does mean such a lot. My target was 1,500 by the World Cup. I think I'm about 1 or 2 off it. So if you can subscribe, and if you have already subscribed, please hit that like button. It does help with the algorithms, which basically means that the channel gets to put onto other people's homepages, see it for the first time, and hopefully subscribe. We're off to Scousland this weekend. Everton coming up. I think I'm going to be playing Liverpool at the moment. Just a note there for Two Job Doug. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. It is the Everton preview. Good evening.
It's time. It's time. Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favorite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right, the back. How are you doing? As I say, it's a very good evening for me and my little friend here, Mini-Me, who's obviously just got changed out of his Middle Eastern robes. 2 games to go. And then it's the World Cup. I can't believe I am saying that. It does mean that we're going to be doing a lot of non-Leicester stuff for just over a month. We have got a couple of programs coming up in the week before the World Cup. We've got a World Cup Home Nations quiz, and we've got obviously the shirt show with Doug as well. But something new that we're starting, and this is either going to go down very, very well. Hopefully we'll have a bit of fun. Mondays at 9 o'clock, we are going to be doing Football Fans, the Rivals. 2 fans, 2 teams, 1 sport. Myself and a Nottingham Forest fan. We are going to be chatting the weekend's football. We will be laughing at each other's results, no doubt. It could get interesting as the season goes along. But it is Everton. It is this weekend, and James is in. Good evening, James. Thank you very much for coming in. You're going to be there at the match, so because you're an Everton season ticket holder, I would say good luck, but I wouldn't mean it. I'm sorry. It's true. And as he says there, hit the likes and subscribe. Indeed. Thank you very, very much. So we have got a couple of guests coming in. We've got Craig, obviously my co-host on this program. He will be joining us in about 15 minutes, as indeed will Elton Welsby, the ex-ITV presenter, and again, big Everton fan and season ticket holder. They will be joining us later to discuss the game. This is a game for me that 2 teams are going to be looking at and thinking, we can win this. And, Everton can look at that and say the same just as much as we as Leicester fans can. But therefore, it's going to be one that we can both win, because I think we will struggle against West Ham. I think that's going to be the tough of the 2 games. We can get 4 points. And like I said, I'm not disrespecting James here at all, or any Everton fan, but we can get 4 points, but 3 of them will have to come on Saturday. But it is under the lights now that the clocks have gone back. It is away, it is at Goodison Park, which is always a great atmosphere. If we were to beat Everton by 4 goals, we will actually jump over them in the league. And we'll have a look at that and say, let's bring the stats in, shall we? Let me have a little play around. There we go. Look at that. You got me in full. I've learned something new. So we're going to be looking at the stats. As James says here, it's a game both sides need to win and should be winning. It is. It's a 6-pointer. And let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Sure. Look. There's the league table, and Everton. Normally you'd go 13 games in. We're sat in 12. We're all right, but 3 points above us. Like I say, if we can beat you by 4 goals, is it going to be 4 goals? Because no, if we beat you by 3 goals, we'll have the same goal difference, but we've scored a lot more goals than you. So that's how tight it is. Had Liverpool obviously done the job for us, beaten Forest, and more importantly, beaten Leeds, we wouldn't even be in the bottom 3. 2 jobs, Liverpool. What are you playing at? But you look how tight it is there. It is, James. It is. Well, none of us want a tight bottom, do we? But that is very tight at the bottom of the table. West Ham for us, our last game before the World Cup aren't there. Forest. I mean, if we were to lose to Everton and Wolves and Forest were to win, we would be bottom. Now, yes, we've got another game, I know. And I don't believe any of this is, Leicester are too good to go down. Everton and Leicester, with the squads we've got, we should be doing better. We should be higher up the table, but we're not. And no team is ever too good to go down. Just a fact of life. You are where you are in the table. You are where you deserve to be. Villa are going to have the new manager boost this weekend, and let's just have a look at who the sides have got. I mean, so we've got Everton on the Saturday night at 5:30. Leeds have got Bournemouth. Now, I think Leeds will do that, but I would like Bournemouth too. That'll do us a favour. Nottingham Forest have got Brentford. That's winnable for Forest. That is winnable for Forest. Wolves have got Brighton. Brighton aren't what they used to be. Yes, they beat Chelsea. Always on the cards. So I'm not comfortable. But come 5:30 on Saturday night, we should know what we have got to do. So that, I suppose that's an advantage, isn't it? But look, we have played each other 32 times in the Premier League, Everton and Leicester. Everton have won 11. We have won 6. They have won 5 at home. We've only been won 2 away. But there has been 15 draws. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't think a draw is good enough for either of us. I really, really don't. James, you are 100% right. The table doesn't lie. Yes, clubs like us, Leicester, West Ham, and even Aston Villa should all be doing better. But in reality, we are all where we are in the table for a reason. Yeah, definitely. You say it doesn't lie. I was actually on a Everton podcast earlier, and the links on my Twitter page to go and listen to it or even watch me. And we were both literally saying, yeah, we should win this, And Ian, the Everton fan, went 2-0 to Everton. I went 2-0 to Leicester. It is so much in the balance. And I think, and this was put to Brendan in the press conference earlier. So if you missed that show, that's again on the YouTube channel, Leicester Till I Die TV. We've reviewed the press conference, or the 10 minutes that they've shown. But you don't want to be in that bottom three come the World Cup. That's the thing, because you're going to be, and you don't have to look at the table, as Brad said earlier, just don't look at the table, but you can't help it, especially when you're doing jobs like I'm doing here with this. The table's part of our DNA. And I think to look at us for what would be 5 weeks, and it would be it. After next weekend's games, that is it until after Christmas. That's a hell of a long time to be looking at that table, thinking, "Oh, we're in the bottom three." The good news is, and let me just take you back to the table. But the good news is, as you look at that table, nobody has broken away yet. Brentford up to 11th are only 4 points. In a normal season, after 13 games, the bottom three could be in a little bit way cut off. But Forest are still in there. They are, 9 points. Hurts me to say this, 9 points, but they're not cut loose yet. So it literally could go either way. Rico's in and says, "Evening, Chris. Sorry, Goodison win." To be honest with you, mate, you're not going to say anything else, are you? We're talking to Brad earlier. I mean, Ian, the Everton fan from earlier was in praise of Frank Lampard. I'm surprised he's outlasted a lot of other managers, but I'm surprised Brendan has. I think Everton and Leicester are two teams that could have been looking at this stage of the competition just before the World Cup going, we've got new managers in, but we haven't. Both there. Last season, we only got the 1 point out of 6. We played each other quite together, if you like, because of, I don't know what it was. Because of some reason, we didn't play Everton when we should have done. It was put back. We played you in April. We went up to your place and we got a 1-1 draw. And I've got to be honest with you, knowing the Everton away fans as I do, that I was quite pleased with, because, when you're playing Everton, it's a compact little ground, and the noise that is generated, it is the proverbial 12th man. And then on the 8th of May, you just did us 2-1. That was a shock. That was possibly the game that saved you. I don't know. You may disagree with that, but 2-1 to Everton. I was disappointed with that. Lampard was the media's favourite to be sacked first. He shut them up so far, which I'm happy with. I think it was. I think Brendan was up there, equal first, possibly. It could have gone either manager's gone. 38 managers have been sacked between the start of the season and now in the 4 divisions. And Rodgers and Lampard are holding on. Just saying, evening. That win back at the King Power was a huge victory for you. Yes, I think it was. And like I say, I think it was probably one of the reasons that you stayed up, because it gave you the confidence. Because that actually was, I believe, only your second away win of the season. And this was on the 8th of May. So you've gone from August to the 8th of May, having won 1 game away. Of course, you come to Leicester. We roll over, you tickle our tummy, and you beat us. So that was only, I believe, could be wrong, but I believe that was only the second away win of your season last season. And that kind of summed Leicester's season up, if I'm honest with you. It really did. And the 1-1, I mean, a little bit disappointed with that. I'm not going to lie. I'm really not. But hey-ho, as they say, hey-ho. Let's have a look what we've got up here next. So, going into this game, this is the form. Now, Everton, they had lost 3 on the trot. But that said, Leicester was three very. Sorry, James has just said it was 2 wins we had last season away from home, which is a disgrace. I think any fan whose team produces 2 away wins in a season, it is disgusting. But that was last season. So you lost 5 games. You lost against Man United 2-1 at home. You then and then you lost 2-0 to Spurs away, and then you lost 1-0 to Newcastle away as well. So you'd lost 3 in a trot. But in fairness, they were pretty hard games. There weren't games that you could go and go, we're going to win these. You did what we couldn't do against Palace, and you beat them at home 3-0. But you're not following it up with another win. You should have. No disrespect to Fulham, we were probably out the 3 teams that have been promoted. That it is Fulham that are doing the best, but you should have probably beaten Fulham. But it was, if my memory serves me rightly, it was a dire game. It was. Leicester, well, we lost to Bournemouth, which was a bit of a disappointment because we just put 4 past Forest. We were hoping that was the start of it. Bournemouth went and buggered it up for us. But then we got a draw against Palace, which, again, we should have won, but it was the start. We beat Leeds 2-0. Take note, Liverpool. We beat Wolves 4-0. Are you watching Brighton? And we lost 1-0 to Man City, which there's never a good loss. But when you've got a team that scored 35 goals in 12 matches, that have scored more goals than any other team, 9 more than I believe Arsenal, and we restricted them to long-term shots, and they beat us by 1 goal, which was a superb free kick. That to me is as good a loss as you can get. James, there were tough games for you. So, that Man City game, I was pleased. I'm not going to lie. Now, here is when we concede our goals. Now, it's a bit frightening because we concede between the 60th and 78th minute, which is usually when Brendan makes his substitutions. And I've noticed Everton don't. That's when you score a couple of goals. But you do concede a lot just before half-time. And also, you concede more than us in the last 15. So, grasping at straws, maybe. But we'll take it as the way things stand at the moment. Now, here are the figures. I mean, to be honest with you, it's all... possession is pretty much the same. We've got 50, you've got 42. Attacks, 1,300 to us, 1,200 to you. Offsides, pretty much the same. Shots on target, 55 to us, 48 to you. Off, 88 to us, 84 to you. It's going to be a draw. It's got a draw written all over it. Our average player rating, 6.79, your 6.82. I don't know if that includes Damari Gray or not. What puts a bit of spice in it, says Terry. Good evening, Terry. Welcome back. Is James and Everton. If Liverpool lose and you beat us, you go above the Reds. Don't give them any encouragement, Terry. I think they've got enough anyway. Andreas, good evening, sir. How are you? Welcome along. You are all welcome. We'll go on to the stat one, but we'll leave that at the stats, I think. If you want to have a look and update and re-look at the stats, www.leicestertillidie.com/match. All the stat graphics are on there. And if you are new, I believe I am now just 1 off the 1,500, which was my target when I started this season for the World Cup. I wanted to get to 1,500. I believe I'm 1 off. So if you are new and you haven't yet subscribed, please do it. That would be great. Look, I've got a friend in me, as they say, and that friend is little mini me, but I've got a bigger friend, or so he tells me, and I'll bring him in now. It's my wise old owl. Oh, look at that, how small you are. Good evening. Let me make you big. There we go. That sounded wrong, didn't it?
It did.
Oh, and I feel all refreshed now. I've had a wave.
Well, good. I'm pleased you do. I'm
Talking
glad
of-
I can bring you some joy in some small form, Chris.
Talking of waves, I actually went for a dip earlier today. As the sun came out for 5 minutes, obviously I'm living at the beach, and I thought I'll go and have a dip. I covered myself in Thousand Island dressing and went into the sea. Well, I was only going in for a dip. Anyway, yeah, we nearly did. We get a little smirk there? Did the lips go up at the side?
It was a smirk of sadness, Chris. That's what it was.
Yes, a smirk of you need to get help. I really hope we don't get rid of man. There's nobody's going anywhere in January. Apparently, not even Tielemans, Craig, or as the BBC call him, Tielemans.
Tielemans, yeah.
Tielemans. The Leicester have said he ain't going anywhere in January, and if we don't get anything for him in the new, at the end of the season, 26 million the same we'd probably get for him if we did sell him. It'd cost us more than that if we got relegated and weren't able to come straight back up.
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think I've noticed with Tielemans the last few weeks, it looks like a player who's just decided he's playing out the season, but he's gonna give it what he's got and play for the shirt while he's here, and then he's going to find a new challenge at the end of the season. So as long as he keeps doing that, as long as he keeps turning up and putting the performances in, be interesting to see when it gets towards the end of the season whether he's still putting in tackles which may injure him and put paid to any move in the summer. That might be interesting, but at the moment, he's in pretty decent form. So,
do you think that's because? I mean, I always said that he's been quite restricted by Brendan because Brendan's been playing him, more of a defensive. It's almost like he didn't trust those players. I think you made that point.
Yeah.
But it's almost like last few games he's been released to go up front more and attack more. I always said if he'd been playing the role that he'd been playing for the last season and a bit in the FA Cup, he wouldn't have got that goal. But we're getting that. Tielemans seems to be being given that freedom, and I think we're reaping the benefit.
Yeah, I think it's a natural thing from a footballer when you're comfortable with what's going on behind you, then you feel a little bit braver, I guess, is the word, to venture forward, knowing that it's pretty solid behind you, And I think you're right. I think he's probably feeling that because we've tightened up a bit at the back, that he feels he can venture forward a little bit more.
Yeah. We had, I was just saying before when I was going through the stats there, we started on a good run. Bournemouth aside, we'd got the Forest win, we got the point off Palace, we beat Leeds, we beat Wolves. These are teams that we need to be beating because they're teams that are around us at the bottom. You were at the Man City game. From my point of view, and I'm only seeing it on the telly, so I'm not getting the full picture. I thought we played really well.
I have to agree. I think it wasn't, it wasn't the most riveting of viewing from a Leicester perspective, other than, we're restricting a very good team. But then, the tactics were that's what he'd set up to do. I think me and Scott were there, and we basically called it quite early on, and we thought he's going to get to 70, and then we had the right changes that we thought he would make, and he made them. And it was that sort of stay in the game, and then let's have a go. And I know a lot of people were a little bit disappointed. Even people like Muzzy Is It had come out on social media and said this is too defensive. We're showing them too much sort of respect. I think he'd set up thinking Haaland would play, and blocking up the middle. Haaland likes space through the middle. He rarely ventures out wide. So playing the three centre halves would have restricted his space. So I think he got his tactics pretty well spot on, to be honest. We had a couple of breaks in the first half, which really, if Barnes had got his head up, we could have nicked a goal as well, and that would have made it a whole different game. But overall, it was almost like an acceptable defeat, if there can be such a thing.
It was, and when you're restricting the league's top goal scorers to 5 shots on target out of, I think it was 16 shots that they had. I mean, that goal you could have had You could have had Ward, Casper, Shilton, and Banks all in there. Nobody was stopping that. But I don't think you could have gone to. I think the way we played the last 20 minutes, if we played that for the full 90, I think would have got battered. And I think for me, that's in my opinion, but coming out of that game, I don't think it's going to have knocked our confidence that much. But I think had we gone toe to toe and maybe lost 3-4-0 again, it could have knocked us back to where we were.
I agree. I think when we were doing the preview of that, the one thing we didn't want was to be turned over and the confidence to be knocked that we'd gained before, and we'd sort of slowly been getting that goal difference a little bit more respectable, and you didn't want that turning over as well. So no, I think there's only, people will look at it negatively and say, right, as you say, we should have had a go. But you're right, we would have got turned over. We would have. Man City like space. Yes. So if you come out and give them space, they'll play around you all day long. And we restricted space. We took their life. We let them have the ball and do what they want with. Maybe a little bit too deep at times, especially early on. But I think we starved them of the oxygen of space, and we could have easily got a point at the end of it.
I mean, it's very weird as we look at the table. Like you said, we're on -4. If we were to beat Everton by 3 or more goals, we would go above them because we'd have the same goal difference, but we would have scored the more goals. I mean, that's how tight it is. No team has yet been cut adrift. Not even Forest, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, you saw. I mean, West Ham got a victory, didn't they, and jumped from 17th to 11th. I think. Yeah, it's very tight. What you just need to be staying in touch. If we're in touch, not a points difference going into the World Cup, then you would hope that, we've not got loads of players going off to the World Cup. So you would hope that we can stay fit and fresh. And maybe that'll benefit us kicking off again in the second half of the season.
It was mentioned in the press conference, and I mentioned it to Brad in the press conference review show a couple of hours ago. I don't want to be sat here it's going to be 5 weeks with the World Cup, because the World Cup's 4 weeks, and obviously we've got a week after the last game. I don't want to be sat there looking at us in the bottom 3, even if it's like now it's just by 1 point. It's just psychological. I want us out of that bottom 3. Yeah.
No, I think it's right. Yeah, you don't want to be looking at that table, do you? And the players don't want to be looking at that table. We are going to lose some players. Obviously, we're going to lose the Belgian contingent.
It's half the team, isn't it? We've got half the Belgian World Cup team for us.
I would imagine that Danny will go off with Wales. I'm not sure who else is.
Depends on Gareth, doesn't it? Depends on Gareth.
Depends on Gareth. Yeah, so I mean, there's an outside chance that JJ could get picked now with the number of fullbacks that seem to be falling by the wayside every week.
He could be out, couldn't he?
Looks like Chilwell's gone now for the World Cup as well. So, a couple of good performances by JJ. He's got a chance with putting himself back in there.
But Madison, we will wait and see. We will wait and see. Yeah. I mean, if they don't, and I hope they do, and I hope Gareth sees the light for their sake. But if they don't go, then it's good for Leicester.
I tell you, Chris. Yeah, I'm losing you a little bit, Chris. So I'm going to go and reboot.
You do keep freezing, but I can still hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna disappear for 60 seconds and try and plug in and see if we can get it a bit better.
No, that's fine, mate. That's fine. So Terry says here, if we're in the bottom 3 at the World Cup, I will just turn the paper the way around and pretend we're in the top 3. Fair point, Terry. Fair point. And James says, just shows that most of this league are in a similar state. Not enough consistency in results. Yes, indeed, and I'm pleased for that, because, like I say, in a normal season where we are now, we would be we'd be out of it. But we've equalled Derby's 11 points. We've got the best. I was going to just mention this, and I will mention this to Craig when he comes back. We've actually scored more goals than anybody else in the bottom three. So that isn't actually a problem. We actually have conceded. We've conceded more goals apart from Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. And of course, Bournemouth had the 9 in one game. So, things don't look too bad. But like we said earlier, James, when we were in the show earlier, no team is ever too good to go down. And that's the thing. And we have to accept this. Let me just see, because I didn't bring this up earlier. So let me just show you this. This, you can see there the statistics. The matches at the top, pretty much. I mean, Everton have drawn more. The wins look about the same. And then you've got the goal stats below. That's almost exactly the same as well. He's back. Let's see if we can get him in again. Don't make him small again. That wouldn't be fair. Yes, there we go. Hello. Now, I've got a job. As soon as you've gone out and came back in again in the middle of the show, you can have a go at pronouncing this person's name.
Okay, let me just have a little look at that. Shakashirinai, Charasin, Shadow and Siri. Shakashirinai, Shadow and Siri.
Can I just say,
Tom,
young sir, and I'm about the gentleman from Thailand. Good morning to you. Welcome along. I am absolutely useless with anything other than Smith, Jones, and Brown, so that's why I passed it over to my esteemed colleague. Hey, you're welcome. We're a team. I like
indeed,
to think.
Indeed.
You are my Johnny Evans to my about face.
Thanks. Let me just leave again.
I was
more like Johnny Evans when I was just freezing.
Yay! I'll give you that one. But you are welcome all the way from Thailand. Lovely to see you. If you are new, please give us a subscribe. We do all Leicester content, and we do sort of quizzes. Talking of quizzes, Brad is getting ready. He wants to do the pick and mix.
Oh, does he now?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So that's your challenge for during the World Cup. That's your next one,
right.
Is Brad. Everton haven't been out of the top flight since 55. You came so close.
Yeah.
So close last season. What I was going to say was, before you had to leave, scoring goals isn't a problem. From the top 11 places, the bottom 11, let me just get this up and I will try and do it. There we go. We scored more goals than anybody.
Yeah,
Brentford, in 11th have got 19. The problem is we've conceded a lot more. There is only Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth that have conceded more, but of course Bournemouth let 9 in one game. That's the problem with us, isn't it?
It is, but I think we've started to address that. I think we've probably scored more than half the teams in the top half as well, to be honest.
Yeah. I haven't got that. I haven't got that graphic. You've mentioned the one graphic I haven't got. Thank you.
But no, we're looking a lot tighter, aren't we? And now it's a case of getting the balance right.
Yes.
Of keeping it tight, but still giving us that attacking threat.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but I did say at the start of the season that Casper should be sold and we should promote Danny Ward. It was looking like I was not making the very good sense at the start. But, I mean, watching him against... And I think he's benefited, as has the team, by Lars Nusden, however you pronounce it. I mean, the new set-piece coach.
Yeah.
Yes, he's Danish, but he's with the American World Cup squad. What a difference he has done. In the last 2 games alone, we have conceded 19 corners. And we haven't conceded a goal from them. What? What is going on? This is at Leicester.
And I don't think we've conceded many chances from them either. You know, it seems to be that we're getting our head on the ball first, which was the big thing that we weren't. You know, I don't think anybody's picking up a free header. You know, we've said this now, we'll probably lose 3 at the weekend. But yeah, it definitely seems more cohesive. You know, people seem to know their jobs and are in the right places. You know, you are always going to get done. You know, if somebody puts in a fantastic delivery and some great movement, but it's the cheap goals, isn't it? That were the frustrating thing. And as long as you're not giving cheap goals away, then you can be satisfied with it.
We all saw him when he came. Spurs was his first game. He was sat with his head in his hands, and he nearly missed. But from then on, you know, Ward is coming out, he's commanding, he's getting the confidence as well from that. But it's the simple things like, okay, you know, Amartey and Face is obviously his favourite two at the moment to play together, and you can't argue with, you know, however many clean sheets we've just kept. But he's actually put them on the right sides. You know, when Amartey was on the left, it was awful. Put him on the right, he's a lot more confident.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's a defender. He's not, you know, he's not a ball player, is he? I think that's fair to say. And he does, you know, I like Amartey, but yes, he does give me palpitations from time to time when he's on the ball, and he just seems to get it stuck under his feet. Yes. I think sometimes he's not helped by the people in front of him. Please don't get me started on Jamie Vardy's performance this season, because you know, he's one notch behind Gareth. So I don't think he's so I don't think he's helped by what's in front of him. But but in terms of, you know, what he gives to the team, you know, he gives his all, and his positional sense is pretty good. And I tell you what, in the second half, I think it was the second half against Man City, he was threading through some really nice passes, to be honest. You know, so when he's given a little bit of time on the ball, I think he can pick a pass. But as a unit, and that's the important thing here, that back five is working as a unit, and are all playing together week in, week out. They're bound to become more solid. So I think it would be wrong to start disrupting it, to be honest. If there's any hint of Johnny coming back, then I you know, for me, he has to earn his place back in the team, not just be put back in.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what I like about Leicester fans? And Terry encapsulates it for me here now. It's the confidence and the positivity. You just watch. We will keep our defence tight, then our goals will dry up. I love you.
That's what we said. You know, that's what we said. Terry, he's got to strike the balance. That's the important thing. And we are still creating chances, even though we haven't taken them. The problem is a lot of the chances is falling to Barnes, and you know, he can be hit or miss. Yes. The best chances against Palace fell to Barnes. The best chances against Man City fell to Barnes. So we need a little bit more of a cutting edge from him. But we are still creating chances, which is the important thing.
I do want to talk to you about your favourite player, Johnny Evans, because I think you've got. I know Terry from the show earlier is completely 100% with you when it comes to Johnny Evans. To me, I think there's a fine line between passing it round but making sure you get the right pass. To a player. Yes, you know, we don't play well when we play it around at the back, but it's not a one-man defence. But Johnny Evans, he has a knock and he's out, and he might not even be fit for this game. You know, it might be Newport. Now, you know, you can't have him as one of your main defenders in the squad when if he gets a knock, he's going to be out for 4 or 5 games at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's made of fine china, isn't he?
Yes.
You know, any little nick, and he needs to glue him back together.
Same with Mark Albrighton, same with Jamie Vardy. You know, now Soyuncu was brought back into the pack against Man City. I thought he had a damn good game. If Soyuncu's going and and I'm not sure whether he did enough to convince Brendan to sort of keep him in. But if Soyuncu is going to go and Evans is going to, be Evans and get injured all the time, we need another centre back still, don't we?
Yeah, we do. There's talk that there will be some money made available in January. Whether that's true or not, we shall wait and see. But I don't know. I think listening to Brendan after the game, I think Soyuncu was sort of damned with faint praise. He didn't really go overboard. He was very careful with what he said. I thought he was a little bit rusty early on. He played one great ball very early on over the top to Barnes, and then a few of his passes went astray, and he was on that side where Brendan was, and you could see Brendan wasn't happy with him a few times for giving the ball away. But in terms of defending, being solid and positional sense, which is what you want your defenders to be, then he did a good job. I mean, defenders are there to defend. There's a clue in the name, and if that's
he's going to be ring rusty, isn't he? Because he'd only played against Stockport. That was his only minutes.
Yeah, so I think overall, I think he had a decent run out, and I'd like to see him go. I don't see the point in shipping anybody out in January.
No, but if we're going to bring anybody in,
yeah,
I think we've got to because of the 25-man, squad.
No, you're potentially right. I don't know. I can't even remember seeing the 25-man squad this year, to be honest.
No, I don't know. It hasn't. It has sort of sneaked out at some point.
Yeah,
so
whether there are one or two little gaps there, I don't know.
Well, we let Hamza go.
Yeah.
And we let Casper go. We had 27, so that would have taken us down to the 25. Because as we know, this time last year, Mendy wasn't even in the squad. But then we brought Smithies in. Yeah, and we brought Faze in, so that takes us back up to 27. So I am confused.com, as they say. Yeah. But yeah, I just think, why go out and spend money when we've got a defender like Soyuncu, who we know how good he can be?
Yeah.
Yes, he had an awful Euros with Turkey. That Turkey as a team had an awful Euros. He was the poster boy. He had a horrendous time. Then he came back into a club that, last season we were struggling in defence. We played Cag so much there because we had to, because he was the fittest, but he wasn't fit enough, really. He shouldn't have been playing. So he couldn't probably give his best. And I just think it's like the perfect storm again, all those things coming together. And I just think if Brendan can put an arm around him, I think we've got the defender we need there if we can get him back to his form.
I agree. I mean, he's playing, day in, day out with the rest of the team, isn't he? In training. So whoever you bring in, they don't always settle in, quickly. We know Fofana settled in brilliantly and Fars has settled in fantastically. We've had other defenders who haven't. So it's a risk to do that, and unless you're bringing someone in who's going to walk straight into the team, then I don't see the point of changing it now. Yeah. You're best waiting till the summer, and you never know. Some gems may turn up out of the World Cup as well. That'll be interesting. I'm always wary of buying anyone on the back of a decent World Cup, to be honest. But
Kaputska, one word, Kaputska.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on a few players down the years. I remember, I think Liverpool bought Morales. I think it was Morales. It might be someone different. On the back of a decent Champions League performance the season before, and it was absolutely shocking. So, be wary, I would say.
Yeah, Terry says there, and I don't know what we were going to be joined by Elton. I know he's been having a few social media problems, and that's all I'm saying. So I hope you're all right, Elton. He's not responded. He's not. Yeah. He knew what the time was. He responded earlier today, so we will have to continue without him. But I hope you're all right, Elton. Terry says there Ricardo nor Bertram registered. That is a good point. They weren't. We can still knock out Mendy and Vestergaard. I would say knock out. I mean, I don't know whether you mean knock them out of the squad or not put them into a game. Mendy, he's been getting the time, hasn't he? He was brought on at the weekend. He gave away the free kick, and I think it was a bit unfortunate. Had he been on from the start, I think it was maybe a bit of rustiness as well because he'd only just come on. Vestergaard, I'm having a feeling will start against Newport.
I think there's every chance, to be honest. These players do need some minutes in the bank, don't they? Some competitive minutes. It's all right playing in under 21s or 18s or training, but you need some competitive minutes.
Is there a good player there in Vestergaard?
I think so. In the right formation, I think against teams who sit offers, I think he's a decent ball player. He's got a good pass on him. It's when he's under pressure that I feel his weaknesses come through. So against Leicester teams who are not going to press high up the pitch, then I think there's a decent player there. And particularly if you're going to play a 5 again, I think he could have easily played Vestergaard in the middle of that of Farce and Amati, and it would have worked okay, to be honest.
Yes, I agree. And he had a decent game. All right, it's only Stockport, but he had a decent game against Stockport and did bring the ball out well. And in fairness, again, he was thrown into the mire when he came in. He was thrown into that defence, and as our Thai friend here says, I can remember him putting Vestergaard on against West Ham in sort of like the 92nd minute at a corner.
Oh yeah,
but so I mean, we will see. Of course, we've got Ricardo to come back as well. Before we talk about the Everton game a little bit more, I do want to ask you a quick question about Ricardo, because we know that one of the problems we have is the right wing. We'd have loved to have been able to have bought, I've forgotten his name already, Lookman. And we weren't able to. When Ricardo comes back, if he can get fit, and let's hope, we've not got a proverbial sick note on our hands, but do you think he could actually, because he's played in that role before, and, Castagna, right back, and Ricardo, maybe that right midfield?
I think either of them could, to be honest. I think there's a difference. There's all this talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold moving into midfield eventually. My argument against that in some ways is, as a midfield player, you have to play facing your own goal a lot of the time and receiving the ball into feet and not looking forward and seeing the whole pitch. When you're a fullback, you see the whole pitch. You get the ball and you can see everything. It's very different then to be receiving the ball to feet with a defender up your backside and having to turn. So I don't think it's necessarily a natural transition. I think when you see the best of fullbacks turn into wingers is when they're going forward. But they can more easily be marked out of a game because they don't have that sort of attacking mentality of the fact that they haven't played that position and learnt how to play it. So I think the reason Trent looks great is he comes onto the play when the ball's in front of him rather than having to take it into his feet when he's returned with his back to goal.
Yes.
Having said that, I think either of them could be interchangeable, and I think the fact that if you played the two in tandem, then you've definitely got the instincts would be to fill in for the other one who's overlapped as well. So it could work if we can't get anybody in that fits the bill. Yeah.
I'm just going to say, James, what I'm going to do is, if you want to come in, because like I say, we were going to have Elton in. He is not responding to my tweets at the moment. So what I'm going to do, James, I'll send you the link, and if you want to come in and talk Everton and put Everton's side across, you'd be most welcome. Let me just find you on my email list. If you can't come in or something's going on, then don't worry. There we go. I've sent you the link, mate. So if you do want to join us and come on, because we always have an opposition fan on, we can. We've got brilliant, mate, brilliant. I've emailed you the link. We've got Everton now. We've got West Ham, and then we've got. Can't believe I'm saying that we've got the World Cup then, but for me, it's 4 points from those two games.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and I think the three's got to come against Everton because I don't think we will get a win against West Ham.
I don't know. I think we're in danger sometimes of bigging up the opposition to be better than we are. Yeah, we're not great. We haven't been great, for a good sort of 9 months probably.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I've watched a bit of these teams. West Ham flatter to deceive. I saw them the other night and they had some chances to get an equaliser, but they didn't look particularly threatening to me. So I think both teams are beatable. That's for sure. But I would agree that we would be looking for 4 points minimum. But I wouldn't be surprised if we beat either or both. To be honest,
in fairness, actually, West Ham are only in 13th. I thought they were higher than that. They're actually one place below Everton. And talking about Everton, he comes on. He's my life support machine that comes on when I have nobody. James, welcome along, sir. Thank you very much for coming on.
No, even lads, hope you well.
Yeah.
Good, thanks. How you doing, James?
Good.
Nice.
Now, James, Everton, we're talking very much here, and I don't mean to be doing it in a disparaging way, but we're looking at this and going, this is a game we should be winning. But you're going to be looking at that and thinking the same, aren't you?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think most teams, whoever faces each other around the bottom half of the league, will be saying the exact same thing. So, and I just showed the table earlier. The points difference is like 3 or 4, 5 points from like 12th to bottom. So everyone's pretty much the same. So yeah, it's Saturday. It's a must win for both sides.
Yes, yeah. I'm just putting the thing up there that subtitles will be available for anybody that's just joined us and can't understand Scouse. Sorry, James.
James, what's the feelings towards Lampard these days? Has he sort of ingratiated himself a little bit more with your improved performances?
He's had an impact, especially defensively. We've looked more solid, and it's a bit more of a. I mean, things have calmed down a bit, especially since we've stayed up, since we managed to stay up. But I think that the fact we're not conceding much and we're getting enough results, at least getting a few draws along the way, it's calmed things down a bit, and everyone's literally, most of the fans are pretty much on board. It's just getting the consistency right at the minute. But so far, he's doing all right.
You have, James, Everton, you've conceded less goals than anybody in that bottom half. You've conceded 12, West Ham 13. But when you look at Leicester, we've conceded 25. But you've only scored 11. That's the same as Villa, the same as West Ham, less than Bournemouth. It's only a few more, another 5 more than Nottingham Forest. So you seem to be having problems at that end of the pitch.
Yeah, that's been the problem all season. Losing, I mean, I know it's back in the summer, but losing someone like Richarlison didn't help. But obviously, we had to let him go because to balance the books with FFP, and we had Calvert-Lewin out for literally for the start of the season until he's just come back lately. The lack of goals is a worry, but it's a bit. I said to you the other night, the creativity on the wings is lacking as well. The only sign of creativity we've got is from Alex Iwobi. If he's not creating, then there's not hardly much creativity in that side. Which is the worry. But I just hope that I mean, I know you don't want him to turn up, but if someone like Damari Gray or Andy Gordon turn up on the day, hopefully it gets their confidence going.
I mean, it would just be, would it not, Craig, just like Damari Gray to come back and get a hat-trick against us. But
I think you're always worried about ex-players playing against you, aren't you? That they're going to turn it on because they want to prove what they let go. But I don't know. I think you're a little bit like us. You've got some very good players, but they're so inconsistent. and that's the difference between languishing in the bottom half and being comfortable in the top half. If the players can just be consistent, then you'd be turning results in. And it seems to me that Anthony Gordon's position has been switched around a little bit this season, and he seems to have, I don't know if he's lost his mojo a little bit. Obviously, there was talk of a move that may have happened that didn't happen, but then he seems to be playing more on the right, whereas I thought he looked better off the left. I don't know. Have we found his best position yet?
I still can't work it out, to be honest. I mean, if Alex Iwobi wasn't playing centrally, I would have played Gordon centrally. Because every time he's on the wing, and this is Anthony Gordon's problem, not just his lack of awareness in the final ball, but he gets muscled off the ball so easily because there's hardly much of him. If you look at him, he's not the biggest lad, and he gets so muscled off the ball every time. So he's got the pace, he's got a bit of tricks on him, but it's just the lack of awareness and the in-game intelligence. I mean, he's only a young lad, obviously, so it's still a bit of time to develop still.
I was talking, like I said, to Ian on the podcast, the Everton fan earlier, and the subject of Lampard came up. And it's strange to think that Lampard and Rodgers were both probably joint favourites to be the first managers to go, and they're still here. They're hanging on by the nails. But when I was talking to him, and we know Brad absolutely hates Lampard just slightly more than Gerrard. He just doesn't like him as a manager. But when I was speaking to Ian, it was almost like, well, anybody that came in after Benitez and got the fans on the side was going to be accepted.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the fact Benitez had links to Liverpool, and then he made comments years ago saying that, he said it was taken out of context, but calling Everton a small club, that just didn't help. That was never going to help work well with the fans at all. And whoever came in had a massive job on their hands, and thankfully, someone like Lampard came in and he managed to keep us up, and now he's just steadying the ship at the minute.
And I think you got to look at it, and I look at it a little bit like the Arteta situation at Arsenal. And this is what annoyed me with Brendan earlier in the season, that he's not taken us forward this season. But Lampard, he kept you up last season, pretty much thanks, I think, to Leicester's generosity in letting you beat us for only your second away win all season. I don't think you thanked us enough for that. But all joking aside, he kept you up. If he gets you mid-table security, that's an improvement, isn't it? And you're going in the right direction.
It's steady progress, yeah. I said at the start of the season, I'd settle for a boring mid-table finish and have a go in the cups. That would do me this season. And it's all about stability at the end of the day, because the club entirely has been so mismanaged so badly. It's taken like a huge nosedive in a bad way, but this season's just about stability at the minute, and and fingers crossed we have a plan going forward.
James, is the fan base sort of accepting that you may have 2, 3, 4 years of just that kind of stability while you get the new ground built and settle into there, and there's not necessarily going to be that much money for strengthening?
I think it's mixed. I mean, if you ask some Everton fans, it's a bit, I wouldn't say it's like divided, but there's certain opinions, because obviously some of them have been brought up because the history we have, and the fact it's because we've gone 27 years without winning anything, and that's the longest in our history that we've gone without winning a trophy. Which is the fans are saying, no, we need to be competing. We're further behind everyone. We need to catch up. But there's others, and including myself, who obviously want the club to go forward. But realistically, we have to look at the bigger picture, saying, look, at the minute, stability is all we need. Mm-hmm. We can't. The jump we want to make is too big, and we can't. And we've tried it by wasting like 200, 300 million. one window, and then it's just hits us on the backside. So stability is what we need in the minute.
I think it's odd that we're looking at a club, and we're looking at it from the outside here, obviously, but we're looking at a club where the owner is very happy to spend money. He's giving it you by the suitcase load, but you're just not happy with the players that are coming in.
Well, I'm just not happy with the board entirely because they just don't know how to run a football club. I'm sticking by the what I mean. I know there's certain people who stick with it. I'm sticking with the fact that Everton will not move forward if Father Mashiri and Bill Kenwright are still running this club, because it's just. I mean, he has. Mashiri has given money out and obviously helped splash the cash, but the fact is, the biggest problem he had. How many director of footballers we've had? We bought Steve Walsh off you guys, who was your scout, and he was never a director of football one bit. He goes after like a season and a half. Then we get Marcel Brands in from PSV. We've had him about 3 or 4 years. And he doesn't get a say in what transfer. And I said to you, Chris, back in the summer, his number one target, Brands, was Potter before Benitez got the job. And what did Mashiri do? He goes for Rafa Benitez and ignores Brands. And then now we've got Kevin Farwell, who's our new director of football. We've got from, I think it was New York Red Bulls. So he's only had one window and we can't really judge on that. But it's the direction of where Mashiri's taking us has just gone completely wrong. And I mean, I don't dislike Bill Kenwright, but Bill Kenwright's too much of a too emotionally.
He's going though, hasn't he? So he's there through the Moyes years, and
I mean, I respect his loyalty and obviously his passion for the club, but he has held us back for a while. And I think he just needs to. And the fact that he's in his 70s, I'm like, why take the stress? I know he hasn't got much shares left, but why take the stress of still being on the board?
It's in your blood, isn't it?
I know. I'm not saying he should. I mean, I'm not saying he should leave the club entirely. I'm just saying he should just step aside on the board, and then he can just go to the games as a fan rather than just having the pressure on him.
I mean, Craig, talking about Craig Shakespeare, we got the best out of him, but he was part of a team. And I think Everton. Sometimes you look and it's like Leeds getting Clough without Taylor. You do well as a team, and then when you split that team up, and let's face it, everything he had done was at Leicester. So the players that he was going for, he suddenly found he didn't have that team surrounding him that was good as a team he had, and was struggling then to find these players. Yeah,
I mean, any backroom team and manager, it seems like everything's a gamble these days. You never know how it's going to work out because you just need all those parts to work together. I mean, there were people. I mean, you may not find this incredible to hear, James, but when there was talk that Brendan was going to go, there were actually fans who wanted us to get Benitez. I mean,
I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that I haven't got a problem with having a discussion about managers with anyone, but as soon as they drop the Benitez word, then you just forget it.
Not a fan,
oh Jesus! Well, I'm going to say it can sit on that top table with Southgate for me. Benitez always will be for me a manager where if you win, it's him. If you lose, it's everyone else. It's never his fault, and he's just a mercenary. And no, I think it's safe to say I'm not a Benitez fan.
I kind of get that. So we've got finally our new head of recruitment in Craig, Martin Glover, come from Southampton. Comes very high. I think, in a way, I feel a little bit sorry for Southampton because they lost Martin Glover to us, and they made us wait until the transfer window was over, which was in hindsight was fine because we had no money to spend anyway. They got his replacement in, and he's been poached by Chelsea. But Martin Glover said he comes highly recommended. He comes, with a good record. But was that because he was again part of a good team at Southampton?
I don't know. I mean, you've got to think that every Premier League club should have a good scouting network. There's so many good players out there. There's a lot of crap as well, but there should be enough that you're not having to just spend millions and millions and millions every season. That you should be able to unearth some gems, and that's their job at the end of it. I mean, what a great job! It's just watching football. That's their job. I think we'd all do it, and we all think we can spot a player, don't we? We all see someone in the lower leagues and think, yeah, he'd be able to make it. And they rarely do. And you think about how many players are coming through academies these days. There should be more coming through, and you wonder that, are the fans partly to blame for that, or is it just because we won't accept to have, a season of 2 of struggling? If a manager turned around and said, right, next season, half of our team is going to be kids that have come through the academy, all the fans will be like, that's brilliant. Until you're stuck in the bottom 3, and then it'll be right. Stop playing the kids. Go and buy some players. So
you don't win anything with kids. Remember,
well, this is true. It's true. It's a difficult one. I was just going to ask James. Just going back to the ground. Is that actually happening? Because it seems to be the longest new ground development that I can remember in history.
Yeah, by 2024 should be done. It's already getting built. So if you can if you look on YouTube, that Everton have posted their stadium development videos, like how the stands are getting built, and obviously, so work's pretty much been pretty much underway the past year. So.
Do you think? I think is it Milan that the 2 Milan teams share a stadium? Would you never ever see that? Well, obviously it's not going to happen. I'm being a little bit naughty here, Craig. I'm being a little bit naughty here, but surely it would pay less. Liverpool and Everton they could share a stadium.
Oh, that would never work. That I mean, we used to. To be honest, years ago, and some people will not know this, but. Before we had Goodison Park, Everton's original home was actually Anfield. If
the only reason I know that is because of the quiz. That was one of the questions in the quiz, home and away quiz. So I do remember. Look, we've got the match coming up. Who from Leicester, apart from the obvious ones, who do you fear, James, on the Leicester side? And then I'll come and ask you the same about Everton, Craig.
Well, there's a fair few. I mean, the obvious ones are Maddison and Vardy. I mean, Harvey Barnes, I think, is another one, because Barnes is one of them. He turns up, he's like great. He has a good moment at period in the game, and all that, or he disappears. But he's got that bit of quality in him to change the game or something. So, Tielemans, if he's on it, is obviously a threat. And if he gets involved, I mean, I know he doesn't play for you much, but Dennis Pratt, who brings a bit of creativity to your team. So there's a few in there that can cause us damage.
I think Pratt's getting kind of warmed up, ready for me, in my mind, to take over from Tielemans, possibly. Craig, same question to you.
It's a tricky one because what I've seen of Everton, they do look a little bit more defensively minded this season. Iwobi has come to the fore. I've even had to put him in my fantasy team, which is, I couldn't even imagine doing that at the start of the season. But again, when you were describing Gordon, it could have been like you were describing Harvey Barnes. That a fantastic player if they had a brain, because they've got all the talent in the world, but that little bit extra that makes them, stand out, of making the right decision at the right time. Gordon, Gray coming back, and I mean, Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's a good player, but he does need to service. So it depends if you can get the service to him. To be honest, if you can, then I think he'll be a threat. because he's not what most defences come up against this season. I'd be interested in, is it Onana who you've got in the new?
Onana, yeah.
Now, I'd be interested again in an Everton perspective. When I've watched him, I'm not impressed. He looks a little bit like Samari was for us last season, that he hasn't got the pace of the game yet, and he gets caught on the ball a little bit too much, and then he's chasing it and he's picking up a few yellow cards. What do you think of him so far?
He's done all right. I mean, he started off slowly, which is going to happen. Obviously, a new league, and obviously he's a young lad as well, so it's going to take a bit of time for him to settle. So he's done all right, but like you say, it's just getting up to speed with the Premier League, because I mean, the League and the Premier League, it's a different kettle of fish. So
yeah.
So,
Let's hope Everton turn up as late as Elton does on Saturday night. Elton, welcome along, sir.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing,
I'm terribly sorry.
Did you forget back at the weekend?
No, I'm what?
So did you forget to put your clock backs at the weekend?
No, it's not that. I am full of flu or something, whatever you want to call it. Man flu.
If you've got man flu, then we totally understand.
I have been fast asleep until about 3 minutes ago, and I went, "Oh shit! I'm meant to be talking to Chris."
Don't. Well,
I can't be more honest than that. I look a wreck because I feel a wreck.
That's okay.
You talk to us for another 3 minutes, Elton. You'll be asleep.
Oh,
again,
I'll be here as long as you like now. Who else is on with me? I can see you all in the corners.
You've got James above you, who is also an Everton fan and season ticket holder.
Well, he's a great guy. We know each other by reputation only. Well, and who else?
You've got Craig in the top right.
Yes.
You've met Craig before. You've done the show.
Yes,
with him
we have.
Craig. We did a preview last season. Yeah.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
You've got some reprobate in the bottom right. I don't know who he is. He turns up every now and again and does a show.
Yeah, he's a twat.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
It's starting to look like University Challenge now, isn't it?
Listen, no, it's not. It's. Tell you what, if this wasn't Leicester Till I Die, I would not be taking part in this. I really would not be. But it's nice, Leicester Till I Die. It's Chris and friends. So yeah, I'm here for as long as you like. Then I might well collapse.
Well, let's catch up a bit, Elton.
I might die after that. So it'll be Elton Till I Die.
Well, the fingers crossed. Not on the show anyway. You can hang on till the end of the show. It's less paperwork.
Oh, I'll be here for as long as you like.
You know. Coming back to Elton, I mean, are you pleased with your season so far?
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Very pleased indeed. I heard, I don't know who it was who was mentioning Onana. The boy is going to be a powerhouse of a Premier League player. Believe me, he will be. I have no doubts about that. And as you know, Chris, I'm never wrong.
Well, far be it from me to argue with you.
No, seriously, Onana is going to be one hell of a Premier League player. And yes, I agree. Whoever said one of the two guys up there might have said he's not yet, but Christ, he's 20, 21, something like that. You know, he's come from originally from Senegal, believe it or not. You know, but he's come from France. What does anyone expect from someone of that age?
I was just going to say,
to walk into the Premier League. I mean, you know,
I was just going to say, Elton, our expectations these days are that players just turn up and can get to the pace of the game. But we can all remember the likes of Henry and Bergkamp when Bergkamp first came. You know, he struggled to score. You know, even great
Yes.
players struggle to get to the pace of the Premier League.
And Henri was played out wide.
He was a winger, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Arsene Wenger thought he was. And then Arsene Wenger, genius, by the way, as you all know. But we're going to play this guy through the middle. Oh, wow.
He had a habit of picking some good players, didn't he? I want to ask you all this while I've got everybody together. And we'll start with James. We'll start with you, James, if that's okay. Maddison, does he get into your England squad for the World Cup?
Well, I'm not really an England fan. I'm more of a Scotland fan. But
God. What are you doing here then?
I'm on the wrong podcast here.
I know, you and me both.
But for me, I think he should go to the World Cup. For me, I think he offers something that the most attacking creative players don't.
Yeah. I think Elton, are you still there?
Yeah, sure. I'm here. Yep.
You disappeared then. Would you?
No, I'm just kidding. I was just pouring myself a hot toddy.
I'll allow that. I mean, please don't tell me you're a Welsh fan before I go ahead with this. But do you put Madison? Is Madison make your England squad?
My DNA is entirely Welsh.
Oh,
I was I was. You want truth, you want honesty. That's why you ask me on these things. I was adopted, and but my heritage is Welsh, totally Welsh. I don't feel it or anything like that. No. But my heritage.
Is your surname an adaptation of Welsh baby? Has it just been sort of shortened?
Very good. Very good. No, very good. Very good. I like that. I've never thought of that. Welsh baby.
There's a reason why you've never thought of that. But Elton, I mean, would you put in your English? Enjoy. Would you put Maddison in for England?
Yes.
That's the shortest answer Elton has ever given. Craig, please don't tell me you've got Irish in you. I mean, I'm hoping you're English.
Now, funny thing about the Irish is that I have no connection with the Irish at all.
None at all. Do you, Craig?
No, nothing at all. I had a semi-Irish stepdad, but that's about it. But there's no Irish. Leicester born.
Where's the other guy walking? Where's he walking?
I'm going to say we are having a Homes Under the Hammer show here. We got a tour of Elton's just before now. James,
hey, listen, you guys should be so thankful I'm even here for however long it is, because I feel absolutely shocking.
Well, I tell you what, we are fully in a way, and it's not because you've only just joined us. We are coming towards the end. But Craig, as I said, please tell me I know you're not a huge Southgate fan, but Maddison, he's got to go into it, hasn't he?
He has. He's the most creative player in that central attacking midfield role. You know, everyone else.
Yeah, he is.
The problem is everyone else does what they're told. And that's the problem with the England team, that it's so structured and you have to fit into the structure or you're out. And we know that Maddison is a bit of a maverick, and that's why Southgate doesn't like him. You know, there's all this talk now of Rashford should be starting for England because he scored a goal. This is how mad it is. If you're with one of the big boys and you play a decent game or two, that's it. You know, you'll be back in there. But Maddison can have 9 brilliant months and his face still doesn't fit. It's just, it's a disgrace. It's nothing.
He is, in my opinion, Craig. I'm joining you late, so I've got loads of opinions to get off my chest. I think Maddison is a splendid footballer, absolutely splendid. And how many, Craig? You'll know this. Is it something like the original squad? Is like 55. Is that is that what it is?
I think if it's
It's a
55,
ridiculous
yeah,
number
it'll
because it's
be
got to get cut down.
55.
Yeah, but it's got to get.
I know he's got to chop it down. He'll have 55. He'll have 45 right backs.
That's right.
And then he'll.
Oh no,
make
they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
No, the right backs. I mean, it's like the when you go to a fairground and you see those little characters going across, and you've got an air rifle and you shoot them. I mean, there are right backs.
Yeah,
our right backs are going down like fucking 9-pins.
The one about the first hour of this show was broadcastable.
maybe we won't. Maybe we won't have any right backs at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gareth just loves defenders, doesn't he? So
Nathan Patterson, there's your right back for us. Oh, well, sorry, he's Scottish.
It is 55. It is a 55-man squad. I'm just looking here.
If he doesn't make that, I will commit suicide.
Lewis Dunk is in it. James Maddison is in it. And Danny Welbeck has made it as well. So if you don't make that 55, yes, according.
Well, I wouldn't. To be honest with you, I wouldn't argue with a fit Danny Welbeck is a very, very good footballer.
That's probably as many English players as there are in the Premier League.
Well, that absolutely. There you go. Sorry, yeah. I've just realised I'm looking at my picture here, and I'm looking like Neville Southall.
You're not that.
as he is now.
You know what? I was talking about Neville Southall.
Top left knows about Big Nev.
I was talking about
Neville now. It's unbelievable.
I was talking about Neville Southall the other day, and that phrase where they say nobody is bigger than the club. Neville Southall is.
On that note, because I am very conscious.
I wouldn't say bigger than the club. I would say bigger than Goodison Park.
Yeah.
Okay, score predictions. Let's get into this, and then we'll do the team in a second. We'll let the other two guys go. Craig.
What game are we talking about?
Not England.
I'm late.
But James. Everton, Leicester. What's your score prediction?
It's going to be close, but I'm going to go for 2-1 Everton.
I would have been disappointed if you hadn't. Elton, if we let you go, what you? I mean, I know you're going to go for a Leicester win, but by how many goals?
I'll be here as long as you are, Chris, and then we'll text privately later if you like.
Yeah, because we need to
as much as anything to apologise for my lateness.
No, you are forgiven. You are forgiven.
Craig.
I mean, you were later than Craig, and that's what Craig. I can
Everton. Well, I'll tell you what, Craig. Are you listening to me?
I am.
Good man. I think I told Chris this a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was. That I cherry picked a game to take to my grandson, eldest grandson, to Goodison for the first time. That Everton will be guaranteed to win because I didn't want to. He's an Everton fanatic. He's got shirts, you name it. He's like the guy on the top left, and I cherry picked a game that I could take him to. Bill Kenwright was like kind of, oh yeah, come on, director's box, the whole thing, and I cherry picked the game against Leicester.
Goodbye.
No, seriously, it was the one I thought. Well, we will win that, and so he will be like. I didn't want to see him go to Goodison for the first time and see Everton lose. So I cherry-picked that game. As it turns out, I was misled by my daughter. I thought they were back. What day is it today? I'm not with it, as you can probably tell.
Thursday today.
Right. I thought they were back today. They're not actually back until Saturday, so it I can't. He's not going. So I've got to cherry pick another game. Craig, I've got to cherry pick another game.
Yeah.
In
what
sort
score
of January.
Are you going for this game, Elton?
Pardon?
What score are you going for this game?
Would you want one of my short answers or?
Yes, please.
Everton will not lose that game. Everton will win the game.
Oh, right.
And I don't ask me who's going to score. I never know who's going to score for Everton. That is Everton's problem. We have now probably on block. I'm waiting for Craig to smile or give me a V sign. I am saying to you that Everton on block have the best back four in the Premier League, without a doubt. In my view, we have a midfield which is rock solid, who are as hard as nails. But what happens beyond that is speculation. It's just kind of, maybe DCL will turn in a sublime performance, or maybe Gray will. Your ex guy, Damari Gray, will have a fantastic day.
Or Anthony Gordon. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
Anthony Gordon. No, Damari Gray. Believe me, it will happen for Damari Gray eventually.
We will see. Elton and James,
Anthony Gordon,
because we are coming towards the end of the show. So thank you, Elton. You were late, but I really do appreciate you coming in.
James, no problem.
You stood in as always. I'll text you later, Elton, and have a chat about the other show. But thank you very much, guys, for coming on.
Cheers, Chris.
Smashing.
Cheers, James.
Take care.
Always good to see you.
I'd like to say that it's been a good show, but I don't know.
you missed the best part. You were asleep.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Take care, guys. All the best.
Totally knackered.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Nice to see you all.
Here we go. Wow. Yes.
That's what's called a cameo appearance.
Yes. Do you like a drink? As an Evertonian, do you like a drink, James? Oh no, I think he's gone. Has he gone?
So what was that, Chris?
I just said very quickly, as a fellow Evertonian, do you like a drink?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I didn't know if there was any left in Liverpool tonight. Anyway, cheers. Thanks very much for coming on. Take care.
Cheers, lads. I say we're still up on Saturday, but we'll see.
We will see. We will see. Take care, mate.
Lads. Cheers, James.
Bye-bye. I don't know where we go now. Well, we normally would be picking our team. I don't know how you're doing for time. If you've got to go, Craig, we can leave that.
Let me have a look. What day is it? All right, okay.
Friday now.
Well, if you manage to find the formation I sent earlier, Chris, we can rattle through it.
Right. Well, funny you should mention that, because I have gone on to every formation thing I can find.
Yeah.
And
there we go.
I'm not going to say I'm struggling, but that didn't come up as the formation you gave me. Terry's off. Cheers, lads. You're off for hot toddy, mate. Enjoy it. I just don't know what to say. But okay, let me just get rid of that. I'm totally all over the place now. I'm totally all over. Do you know when Parkinson interviewed Michael Reed, or was it Wogan interviewed? No, not Michael Reed.
Oliver Reed.
Sorry.
Oliver Reed.
Yes, do you remember? I feel a bit like that. Right, let me get rid of that.
I've heard of people talking in their sleep. I think Elton's been drinking in his sleep.
I'm just thinking he had an intravenous drip into his arm.
You gotta love him, though.
You gotta love him. You got to love him. I've got to go and edit out all that second half of the show. Right, Danny Ward in goal.
Yeah. We'd love to get Elton on the quiz. That would be fun.
No. I mean, that would probably be like you would start it on Wednesday and finish it on Friday. Okay, so we have Danny Ward in goal. Let's rattle through this. Come on.
Yep.
So we've got left back. Is it James Justin?
Yeah, JJ.
Right back, I presume, is Timothy Castagna.
Indeed, it is.
Just. There we go. I guess left centre back, Vout Face.
Yeah, Face and Anamati, two centre halves.
Right. Oh, there we go. It's still got him down as France. And you go for Amati, yeah. I don't think that Brendan will risk Johnny yet, to be honest with you. No. Now then, who are you going to go for in the central? The central, the defensive midfielder.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we're almost spoilt for choice now. The players we've got Ndidi coming back. As I said last week, I think Pratt could play that role. I think he reads the game very well, and he's got a great range of passing.
Yes.
Samare, if you want someone who's going to be more progressive and carry the ball, but I'm going to put Mendy in there for me. Because I've got a bit more of an attacking, forward-looking five. I think you need that defensive mind and someone who can just keep the ball and move it around.
But what a great position to be in.
Yeah.
The fact that we've got that choice, and this time last season, Mendy wasn't even in the squad.
Yeah, I know.
And fair play to him. And what could you have ever envisioned just saying, well, indeed he's fit again, but hey, he's not getting into the team?
Well, indeed, I know it's surprising, but based on current form and the form that indeed he got injured in, he didn't start the season well. And
no,
I think it's important that you work your way back in. I expect indeed he should be brought back in against Newport to get some minutes under his belt, and let's see if we can get back to the Ndidi that we know and love. But he definitely didn't start the season particularly well.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just got to say that Elton has just messaged me saying, sorry, hope the brief contribution was helpful. He feels like shit, but apparently it's rife in this part of the world. So, yeah, thanks for at least popping on, Elton. Do appreciate it. And he said nice words, obviously, that there wasn't many shows that he would come on for, but, he did for this one. Left midfield, Mr. Barnes?
Yes, yeah. We'll go with Barnes.
To me, he's annoying. He's either, he can't win. If he shoots, it's like, well, you're not looking through the players. And if you look through the players, why aren't you shooting? It was he can't win, the poor guy.
I mean, he was frustrating as hell. But even against Man City, any chances that we did have was coming through him. So you can't sort of take him out at the moment.
No, at all. And you just never know. You're getting those balls in the box here.
Yeah.
It can come off somebody's backside and fall. You just don't know, do you?
No.
Central midfield now then.
Madison
there.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. On the right of midfield.
Yeah, Tielemans.
So basically, we have got the same three.
We got the same three, yeah, but
just in a different order.
Yeah.
Okay. Now up front.
Daka and Kelechi for me, and even if Brendan goes with a 1, for me, I think Kelechi should be starting. I think there's much more of a threat from Kelechi at the minute. I know some people don't like him, but for me, he's single-minded in that when he gets on the ball, he wants to get a shot off. He can play people in. He played a lovely ball to Daka, a sort of floated one for his header, but he's a very positive player and he takes the game forward. So I would like to see these two play together, and I'd like to see Kelechi getting more pitch time.
I agree totally with that. I think we do. He deserves it. He deserves it because he does make a difference when he comes on. But I don't think personally he can play on his own up front. That's my worry with that. And we know Brendan only likes. He very rarely goes for two up front until substitution time, does he? So, but we'll see. But no, I think that's a good team. You know me. I'm a two up front sort of person.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. I think that is a good team. So yeah, you picked a good one there, Craig.
Cheers, mate.
It's just all right. You have my. Let me
have your approval.
You have my approval.
That's all I need, Chris. That's all I need.
Now I've got to say we've got a new show starting next week.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the WSL review hasn't really taken off. Mondays at 9. So this is going to be replaced. We're going to try this for a couple of weeks before the World Cup and see how it goes. But as of 9 o'clock on Monday for 2 weeks, we've got football fans, the rivals. Myself and Dave, the Nottingham Forest fan, who you may remember when we did the preview. We're going to be coming on. We're going to be probably taking the pee out of each other's performance for the weekend and talking all things football from a Leicester and Nottingham perspective. So that could go totally wrong. That could go down the hill very quickly. But I thought it was a little bit different.
Yeah. No, that'll be fun. And you might as well, while Forest are in the Premier League, you might as well use them for this season.
Exactly. They've got to have some use up here, haven't they?
Exactly. And then you can get Dan back for next season when Burnley come back.
Yeah. They are looking good. Craig, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sticking with it. Thank you for not drinking. And get that quiz ready. Brad is ready to go. And of course, once we hit the World Cup, we are going to have completely open schedule, so we can play around with the days we do it and to fit in with everybody.
Brilliant.
I'm just wondering, because there's an away set of questions, isn't there?
Yeah, so I guess he'll have to go for North Macedonia.
Of course. Silly me. Craig, thank you so much, mate. Have a good weekend with the family. Cheers. And fingers crossed for 3 points.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'll see you soon.
Take care, Craig. Thank you
very
much.
Everyone.
Cheers. Thanks to Craig for sticking with it. Thanks for James for popping on and sorting this out. Thank you to Elton for being Elton. You've got to say. Nate was on. Thank you for popping on, Nate. Colonel Ward is in. I think out of the list of managers you're suggesting, maybe Klopp would fit one of those. Who knows? Anyway, thank you very much, guys. If you've been listening to it on the podcast, thank you for lending me your ears. You can have them back now. I will see you tomorrow what day is it tomorrow? Friday. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock for the question and answer show, question time, and obviously at the weekend, watch longs and everything else. Yeah, I will do that indeed, Craig. Thank you very much, sir. And I will see you then. Take care. Thanks to everybody that's been on. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. I will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Take care. And remember, whatever you do, don't do anything that I wouldn't enjoy. Good night.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.